So last session we learnt about JavaScript variables. We learnt about JavaScript variables, some basic points. What we discussed about variables is how to declare variables and variable configuration. Configuration contains three phases. We have declaring, we have assigning, and we have initialization. And we also learned what is difference between var, let, and const. Declaring variables, we do that by using this. So what is difference? And we learned what is shadowing, and we learned what is hoisting. Hoisting. These all topics we discussed. What is shadowing? Shadowing means redeclaring same name identifier. Which one will support shadowing? Var will support shadowing, right? Let and constant will not support shadowing, right? What is hoisting? What is hoisting? Hoisting, hoisting allows, hoisting allows to declare after accessing. Declare after accessing. Hoisting allows to declare after accessing, right? And we learned about what is difference between read only and constant. Constant supports only initialization. Constant supports only initialization. It will not support declaring and assigning. Can a constant change? Can a constant change? A constant can change. So when constant changes, every time when application starts, constant can change. But once application starts and it is initialized, you cannot change. So it is not read only. There is difference between read only and constant. These are all very important, right? Next, after knowing this, another important is we need to know about global scope for variable. Global scope for variable. So actually variables are function or block scope. So it is accessible inside function anywhere or inside block anywhere. But if I want a variable to be accessed across multiple functions, then to define a global scope for variable, you have to declare declare at module level. You have to declare at module level. So to define a global scope for variable, you have to declare at module level. What is meant by module level? What is module? We will see. In later stage, we will see. As of now, for example, see, suppose you are creating a JS file, JavaScript file, and you are writing in a script element. That means we write JavaScript in separate file or in script element. Now, in this files, entire file, and this entire script is considered as module. It is considered as module. That means now inside this, you can have a function. You can have function 1, function 2, so many functions can be there. The same you can have here also. The same also. Now remember, this is the module scope. That is the module scope. Now, if you want any variable accessible to all functions, you have to declare it module scope. You have to declare it module scope. That means you can declare inside the script, outside the functions. You can declare inside this JS file anywhere outside the functions. That is called module scope. Later, you will learn how to work with module systems. As of now, you should know that that is module scope. So let's open the project here. See, I am creating a new file here. That is our project is, yeah. Now here I am configuring. This is module scope. We have function F1 and we have function F2. We are accessing F1 and F2, two functions we are accessing. Now important is the function 1 and function 2 needs one variable so that we can access anywhere in function 1 and function 2. So you have to declare in module. You can declare with var, or you can declare with let, or you can declare with const. Many people have a wrong idea. Some websites or some people will tell you that global variables are declared by using var. Global variables are declared by using var, let, and const, all the three. Global variable is not about which keyword is used. Global variable is about where it is declared. Right? That means we can have var 10, var y let y20, constant z30, all are global only. You can access them and use them in function 1 or in function 2. That means I am writing here document.write x equal to plus x. In the next line, so y is equal to plus y. In the next line, so z is equal to plus z. Like this you can write. And remember, all are in function 1. Function 1, x equal to how much, x equal y. Same thing I am copying in function 2. Function 2 also using all the three. At the end, I will put a BR. At the end, I will put a BR, line break. And you can see that it is working fine. So X, Y, Z are accessible in all the functions. I will put a BR here. So that means just a line break after that word, right? So actually, it is going to display everything in this way. That means X is working fine, Y is working fine, Z is working fine. All are in the function. So global variable is about where you declare, not about with which keyword you declare, right? So that is global variables. There is very important question in interviews. This is example. Important question asked in interviews. Can we declare a variable? Can we declare a variable inside function and access as global? Can we declare a variable inside function and access as global? Inside function, if you declare anything, it is inside function only. It cannot be global. But sometimes we want a variable to be declared inside function but accessed outside the function, which is completely a wrong point actually, but it is possible. It is possible. That means the answer is yes. That means a function can have a variable with the global access by using window object. By using window object, you can declare a global variable inside function. By using window object, it is possible, right? We can declare a global variable inside function by using window. For example, see now, I am using here, I am using a variable var as username and I entered some John, and I am trying to print in function 2 document dot write function 2. So here we will put hello and that username we are trying to access. But username is not a member of function 2. It is in function 1. It is not global also. It is not global also. So you can see that username is not accessible. You can see in inspect. Let's go to console. Let's go to the console. You see username not defined at function 2. So that means it is not working. But I can simply declare without var. I can declare by using window.username. If I say window.username, then it will load this into browser window, and browser window is the parent for all. That means it is available everywhere. Now you can see that, you can see it is working fine. It is working fine. Many times it is very tricky question, but remember, this can work only if window is supported. Sometimes we use JavaScript without any windows. That means currently we are using JavaScript where? Currently we are using JavaScript where? We are using JavaScript in HTML. But later we use JavaScript in Node.js, MongoDB, or some other technology. There, window object will not be there. Then this is not possible. That means if anybody is asking this question with related to HTML, it is okay. If it is not related to HTML, the answer is no. Because yes, because it is possible with which object? Window. But window object is not available for other technologies when they are using JavaScript. In that case, there you cannot declare a variable inside function and access as global. So this question have two answers, yes and no. Yes, when you are working with HTML. No, if it is not using HTML, because it is possible through window. Window is a DOM object, right? So example for this is this. I will copy that and I will put here. This is an example how we can configure. This is window dot variable name. Into that you can use. You may ask like, why we need like that? Why we need like that? Why we need to declare a variable inside function? Generally what happens is sometimes what we do, we declare variable directly here. We declare variable directly here and we can use here. We can use like this here. This is possible. But what happening here? Memory is allocated before this function starts. And until or unless you access function 1, that memory is not used. That means you are unnecessarily allocating memory without knowing whether you will use or not. Right? In that case, I want the memory to be allocated only when it is used. Only when function is used, memory to be allocated. But that memory should be available global, which is not possible. That means how you can make memory available global. To make the memory available global, we have to take help of which object? Window object. So the situation, so many times we have to do that. So in that case, we will use window. We'll use window. So this is very important about global. While working with variables, you have to know how to define global scope for variable, right? Next another important point is you need to know about variable naming conventions. Variable naming conventions. That means what are the basic rules in giving a name for variable? First important is variable name must start with alphabet or underscore. Variable name must start with alphabet or underscore. That means it can be like var underscore name, or it can be like var name, like this. So variable name cannot have anything else. That means cannot start with anything else. Suppose, so 2022, this is invalid. So you said some 2022 year. This is also invalid. This is also invalid. Variable name, suppose I said dollar name. So that is also invalid. That is also invalid. Variable name can start with only two characters. One is alphabet or another one is underscore. And very important is variable name can be alpha numeric. So it can be alphanumeric, alphabets and numbers. Variable name can be alphanumeric. So that means you can write like this, var year 2022. That is okay. This is valid. You can use var year underscore 2022. That is also valid. So var year dot 2022, this is invalid. We cannot use dots. So here very important, don't use any special characters other than underscore. Don't use any special characters other than underscore. Another important is don't use blank spaces. Don't use blank spaces. Another important is always always use camel case for naming. Camel case, these are all project standards. Camel case means first three characters. Suppose I am giving var username like this. Start with lowercase, then have an uppercase, then again lowercase. This is called camel case. That is as per standards you have to do. You can give any name, but better always follow certain standards. Another important, variable name variable name cannot be more than 255 characters long. That means maximum 255 characters lengthy name you can give. It cannot be more than 255 characters long, right? That is important. Another point, variable name must speak what it is. This is very important. That means don't use X, Y, Z. Don't use A, B, C, D. Right? Variable names must speak what it is. Suppose you are using for price, then write price. Don't use P equal to 100. Right? That is wrong. As per project standards, use the reasonable names. Right? That is very important. They must speak what it is. Right? Another important point about variables is, many times this question is asked. Why and when to use underscore. Why and when to use underscore. This is very important point actually. That means you said that we can use underscore. Why underscore? Why underscore? Because underscore is the character which is not used anywhere in compiling. But other characters can be used in compiling. Plus can be used as one or many characters. Asterisk can be used. Dollar can be used. Percentage can be used. So, but underscore is not used in any compiling process. So another important is, that means answer is, so it is not used in any compiling process. That is one point. Another point is, when underscore is used, it is used for separation of name. Not only that, separation of name, it is used for implementation. This is very important. Implementation of name. That means, suppose I written like this. So var year underscore 2022. It is understandable. It is understandable that we are separating. because we cannot separate with dot, hyphens and all. So we are separating with underscore. But where underscore product name like this we give. Why I should start with underscore? They already given that you can start variable with underscore. Why should I start with underscore? What does that means? Actually, the meaning of starting with underscore, it means that this variable is not complete. That means it is incomplete. It need to be implemented with more functionality later. That means it is not final. There will be some more changes in this variable in future. To represent that, we use underscore. That means developers have an habit of using underscore in the beginning of the name to tell other developers that this requires implementation. Requires implementation means what? I declared it, you modify it. You can modify. It can undergo changes in future. It can undergo changes in future. That means it is marked for implementation. Marked for implementation. If anybody asked why underscore is used in the beginning, that means we are marking for implementation. You will see that later in JavaScript programming, we will understand that. We will use also practically. But this is the point, right? What is the option? This is all about variables. So in JavaScript, first you need to understand how to declare a variable. How do we declare a variable? What are the basic rules for defining and declaring variable? Next important, after understanding variables, now we have to know about JavaScript data types. JavaScript data types. These language basics are very, very important because these basics will continue in future everywhere, right? Later when you are learning any advanced technologies and all, everywhere you have to handle this, right? So JavaScript data types. What are JavaScript data types? Actually, in any computer programming, if anybody asked what is data type, then many people have only one answer for that. Many people will say, sir, data type means it will tell what type of data we can store. That is the answer regularly you will get. That means data type tells what type of data we can store in variable. But actually, data type defines the data structure. The data type defines the data structure. Data structure means it is not only what type, it is also about what size. That means data structure defines the type and range of value. What type of value, what range of value, that is decided by data type. Data type defines the data type as well as range. Not only range of value, you can simply say it defines the type, it defines the range and the behavior. Defines the type and behavior. Type, range, and behavior. All these comes under data type. That means data type means not just what type of data, what type of data, how much data, how it behaves. All these three things are defined as data type. Data type. And very important is JavaScript is not strongly typed. JavaScript is not strongly typed. That means not strongly typed means you can store any type of variable, any type of variable, any type of value in a variable. Any type of value you can store in a variable. It will not, it will not restrict. It will not restrict implicitly. Means internally it will not show any objection. This is problem. One of the main problem with JavaScript is not strongly typed. That many programming languages are strongly typed. That means, for example, I said var price is equal to 45,000. Now actually price is initialized with number. We initialize it and we said that it is number. But later into the price, if anybody stored a string, then automatically it changed to string. It is valid, it will take it. That's not good. But there is no chance. JavaScript behaves like this. That is the reason we have to explicitly validate. Explicitly we have to validate. That means we have to verify externally whether it is number or string entered. If string entered, tell that don't enter, please enter only number. This is very important. So one of the problem with JavaScript is it is implicitly typed. It is not strongly typed. Not strong. In other languages, it is not like that. Suppose C, C++, Java, .NET, all these languages, they will simply say integer price. That means you can store only integer. Anything else you try to store, it will not allow. But in JavaScript, it is not like that. This is the problem with the JavaScript types. But very important is, as a language, we should know what type of data we can store, how much we can store. These are all important. Without knowing that, you cannot handle anything. So the question here is, the key point here is that the JavaScript data types, the JavaScript data types are classified into, data types are classified into two types. We have primitive types and we have non-primitive types. Primitive types means what kind of data we can store in memory. We can store primitive type data, non-primitive type data. Primitive type data means what? Primitive types means what? Primitive types means actually they are primitive types are immutable types. Immutable types. Primitive types are immutable types. Immutable types means they cannot change. They cannot change the structure. They cannot change the structure. They have fixed range for values. They have fixed range for values. They cannot change structure. And very important, they are stored in memory stack. Stack works with a mechanism called last in, first out. Stack works with a mechanism called last in, first out. Last item goes in, that is the first item that comes out. Last in, first out. So primitive types are immutable types. What does that means? I will tell you. For example, what are the JavaScript primitive types? JavaScript primitive types. Primitive types are, we have number, we have string, we have boolean, we have null, and we have undefined. These all comes under primitive types. These are all JavaScript primitive types. Why we call these primitive? I will tell you. See, suppose I am storing here some where where price is equal to 45,000, 4,500. I am storing some value. Now this is number. What I said about number, I said that it is primitive type. Primitive type means what? Primitive types means its structure cannot change. It have a fixed range for value. For example, if I ask you a question, how much price maximum I can add? Is there any range for that? How much price minimum maximum I can add? Means how much number I can store in that variable. Is there any limit for it? Yes. Yes. There is limit for it. What is the limit for number? The limit for number is, see, I will show you. Document dot write. I will show you. So here, so max safe integer. Number dot max min safe integer. Min safe integer. And in the next line, I will put as number dot max safe integer. So this is the minimum and maximum number you can store. That is the minimum and maximum range. It is fixed. It is fixed. If anybody asks like, can I store any number? No, you can't store any number. The number must be within this range. That is the reason it comes under primitive, means fixed range. That means we can tell that value will be within this range. Right? Now, can I store any larger number than this? Not possible. Can I store any lesser number than that negative? Not possible. In that case, you cannot change the structure. If you cannot change the structure, then it is called immutable. Immutable means you cannot change the structure dynamically. You cannot change the structure dynamically. One by one, we will see. Right? For example, many times people ask doubt, sir, you said string. String means, for example, I am using name. So string means I am entering some value. Is there a limit for string also? Yes, we have a limit for string also. How much lengthy string you can store? We can store up to 2 GB. 2 GB lengthy string we can store. Not more than that. That 2 GB also recently added with new browsers. Old browsers 1.4 GB only. Right? That means the point here is there is limit for even string. Because how much lengthy string you can store? Suppose your computer RAM capacity is 4 GB. Can you store 20 GB string? Now, how it will happen? It is not possible. That means we have a limit for memory. Right? But very important, it changes. But here it is not changing, fixed. 2 GB string. Any computer 2 GB string only. That means that is very important. So that is why this comes under primitive types. Later I will tell you string and all. First we will take one by one. So primitive types are immutable. Immutable means you cannot change the structure. You cannot, they have fixed range. That means they are stored in memory stack. They are stored in memory stack, last in first out. Memory stack means the same thing here. So where price is equal to 50,000. Again, price is equal to 68,000. So what is the price now? 68,000. Why? Because the last value goes in. That is the value that comes out. So it works with the mechanism last in, first out. Right? That is the last value goes in. That is the first value that comes out. So this is primitive types. And in that first important, we will see how to handle number. Number means what? So what is number type and how do we handle numbers? Means in JavaScript, what are considered as numbers? Right? In JavaScript, number, so many are there. We have signed integers, we have unsigned integer, we have floating point, we have double, we have decimal, we have exponent, so we have binary, we have hexa, we have octa. This all comes under number. That means any of these are considered as numbers. That means, for example, signed integer means -8, like that. Means it have a negative sign. These are called signed integers. Unsigned means always positive. Floating point means up to 2 places integer and maximum 2 places fraction, then it is floating. If anything more than 2, that means if integer is more than 2, right, and or integer is more than 2, or the fraction is more than 2, then it is called double. We call it as double. But this also comes under number only. But we call this as doubles. We call it as double. Decimal means more than 3. If it is more than 3 fractions or more than 3 decimals, fraction or integer, then it is called decimal. And remember, decimal can accept fractions up to 29 places. 29 decimal places. Generally, in other programming languages, decimal places will be 7 or 8. Here up to 29 decimal places, very lengthy. That means we can get accurate values correct values, right? Yeah. Exponent, generally exponent is written like this, 2e3. This is exponent. Actually, this is equal to 2 into 10 to the power of 3. That means it will be 2000. This is also number. This is also number. That means this 2e3 is a number. 2e3 is a number. It is a number. That means it is considered as number. You can see here, suppose I am defining the number like this. Yeah. I am configuring here. Let's put here document.write. So I am printing 2e3. 2e3, that is a number. And you can see the result of that will be 2000. So that is E, that is number type. And binaries are usually defined 0, B. Binaries can be defined with B. 1010 like this. That means they can have 0, 1 and they can have B character. They can have B character. So this indicates binary. Actually, it is binary for 10. It is the binary value for 10, right? Binary can be like, so 0B, like say 0B1010. Actually, that is the binary value for 10. Binary value for 10. This also comes under number. Hexa values you already know. What is the hexa value? 0 to F na? 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, A, B, C, D, E, F. We learnt hexadecimal values na? Octa value will have a number, will have a number with O, will have a number with O, like this. When to use these octa, hexa, and binary, I will tell you in different examples later. Hexa already we used. Where we used hexa? Colors. In colors we used hexa. Where to use octa, binary we will see. For that, some more statements and all we need to learn to handle them. So this all comes under the category of which type? Number. All these comes under the number type. That means any of these are considered as numbers. But here one problem is there. The problem is generally in HTML, you have to note that HTML element, every HTML element value is string. Every HTML element value is string, right? So you have to explicitly convert into number by using two functions, parse int and parse float. If you don't do that, then you will get wrong values. That means every element in HTML, radio button, checkbox, drop down, list box, text box, everything, it returns in a number in a string. For example, even if I say input type is equal to number, but min is equal to 1, max equal to 10, and value is equal to 5 or 4. 4 is a string. Double quote means string. That means everything you enter will be a string. You have to convert that into number. This is very important, that we have to convert into number, right? So how do we convert into number? So here you see, how do we define that into number? I am writing a small program here. Doc type HTML head title, and I said some number, and in the body here we have some options, like we are displaying a say number, or say some age, and input type is equal to I given as text, or I am giving input type as number. And here we defined, so min is equal to 15, and max is equal to suppose 30, like this. And here I put a simple button and say calculate. Just roughly I am defining that. That means now this is the option we have, calculate. I should calculate age plus 1 and display that result. I need to display that result somewhere here. That means I will put a span ID as MSG. Here I want to display the result. So what we are doing, so we are writing a script, we are writing a function. Function is calculate click. On calculate click, this function will fire up when user clicks the button. So what you write? On click. On click is equal to calculate click. On calculate click, what should happen? I need to collect the value coming from this text box. So ID, I will get an ID as age, right? What we do, where we are declaring age, how to get document dot get element by id. What is it? Age dot value. That means it will get the text box value, and I will print here document dot get element by id msg dot inner html. I will define. So age is equal to here I will print the value. That means, for example, I will just put here. So I will just put here is equal to, so age plus 1. I want to print plus 1. I want to take that age whatever they entered and add plus 1 and print it. That means this is the message I want to display. Then see what happens now. I am entering the age as 22 and click on calculate. It is 22:1. Because plus is not used as addition, it is used as concatenation because this is string. Age is a string. The age is a string, so it cannot do calculation on it. Even the data type here, see, input type is number. Even the input type number, the value comes from here is a string only. That means now you will fail lot of calculations that you are doing because it is taking as a string. Now what should happen here is we need to convert that. That means anything you entered, it will be string. Now it is important to convert that into number. And before you add to anyone, you have to convert into number by using parse int. Parse int, and what you have to convert? Age. Parse int, it is used to convert into integer. Parse int, and we are giving age. Now you can see this age is converted into number, and then it is addition. Then you can see 22 calculate, it is 23. Now I say 23 24, it is 24 25. Otherwise it will show a different value. So converting into number is very much important. That means here, suppose I given where age is equal to suppose 22. Now what I am doing here, document dot write, I am printing age plus 1. Age plus 1. That means it will print 22:1. In order to print it correctly, document dot write, we have to use parse int. Parse int. What is it? Age. Age plus 1. Then it will print 23. Right? Otherwise, you will face problems in that. Now, this is basic example, means just a basic example, because later you will see lengthy calculations. Right? Now here, when to use this parse float? If your number contains fractions. If number contains fractions, because generally, if I given like this, so 22, 24, and here fractions are not allowed, because already we know we can use step 0.1 I am giving. Already we learned we can give step value. Then now I can write 22.34. 22.34, then click on calculate. Calculate, it will be 23 only. That is correct value? Not correct value, because it is fraction missing. Fraction missing. Why? Because we are using parse int. Now parse int is not suitable. We have to use parse float, because it is a decimal. Double decimal float. For all of them, you have to use parse float. For any fraction, you have to use sparse float. Now I am entering here 22.34, calculate 23.34. Otherwise, it will not do the calculation in a correct way. So it will not do the calculation in a correct way, right? It will not do the calculation in a correct way. So that is important. When to use sparse float, when to use sparse int, we have to decide that. That is very major point here. So this is example, actually. This is example. This is example for handling it, right? So one important point you should know is whenever you are dealing with numbers, whenever you are dealing with numbers from HTML, whatever you send, it is string. We have to convert that into number and do the calculations. Otherwise, problem will come. Values will not be there. One more important question is, so how, another important question while working with numbers, how to check the number type, how to check the number type input, how to check the number type input. That means when user inputs a value, how to verify is it a number or not? Because JavaScript is not strongly typed. If it is not strongly typed, then it will allow any type of value, then wrong value can be stored. That means we have to restrict, we have to verify whether they entered a number or a string. Number or a string. For that, we have to use answer to check the number type input. We have to use a function by using is nan. By using is nan. This is not a number. Is nan function. This is very important to verify whether the value entered is a number or not. Number or not. For example, for that some more work we have to do. I will put some option here. So we are entering some age. Okay. Now when they enter, suppose this is input type is text. Now when input type is text, we can enter anything inside it. So for example, now what happens on calculate click, where some age is equal to document get element by ID age dot value. It will get that value. And very important, I have to verify is it a number or not. Then we have to use a condition is nan age. That means this is nan age. It will return true or false. Not a number. It will return true if age is not a number. If it is not a number, then display a message, or here we will put MSG. I will access that. Where MSG document dot get element by ID MSG. MSG is a span. Here I am displaying MSG.innerHTML. We will display a message saying that, so age or say please enter a number. Please enter a number. Otherwise, if they entered, I will put a message.innerHTML. So here I will put your age, and whatever they entered in age. Whatever they enter in age. That is important for validations. Now here I am using the button simple. I am entering some value, some A value, AB, calculate. It says please enter a number. And I am entering some number into it, then it will get that and display. I am not entering a number into it. I am not entering a number. It says please enter a number. This is very important for verifications. Otherwise, it is difficult to handle. If you don't do that, it will take numbers, it will take strings, and it will do manipulation. So due to that, you will get lot of wrong values. It is very important to verify the value you entered is a number or not. Now, very important here, one more point is that this is example is nan. Remember, so it returns boolean true if value is not a number type. If value is not a number type, then it will return boolean true. Example is this. Now here one interesting point is there. For example, see, these are given in interviews regularly. These are given in interviews regularly. Another question here is, for example, I said where x equal to 10 and where y is equal to 20. So here x and y, one is string, another one is number. Then where z is equal to x plus y will be how much? One string, one number. So z will be how much? Z will be how much? So it will be how much? It is string, it is number. That means it will be obviously how much? 10, 20. It will be 10, 20. Right? It is 10, 20. Okay. I am doing like this, where z is equal to, so parse int x plus y is equal to, this will be how much? This will be how much? Obviously it will be 30. Obviously it will be 30. Now, very important is, this is okay. This is the point. I am giving another condition here. That means this is example 1. And here I am giving another example 2. In this, for example, if it is suppose AB and I am trying to use parse int x AB and it is trying to print some, what it will return? It will return NaN, not a number. It will return NaN. NaN means it is not a number. You cannot convert that. For example, example 3, you see, I am writing this as suppose 20 AB. 20 AB. I am performing addition. I am parsing this. That means I am parsing this x. I am parsing that x and I am using, what will be the result? I am parsing it. But is it possible to parse it? It is having an alphabet. Is it possible to parse? Yes, it is possible. Result is 40. Because remember, parsing can translate any string into number if it is starting with number. If it is starting with number, and it will stop where string comes. That means up to the number, it will parse it and it will display. And it will stop where the string comes. That means parse have the ability to convert even there is a string inside the number. That means suppose if it is AB some 40 XY, then where it will stop? At 20. That means it is valid. It is valid. See now here. I am showing that, suppose just I will put a script here. And here I am defining where x is equal to, so 10 AB. And where y is equal to 20. And document dot write parse int parse int, I am using x plus y, then you can see that the value will be 30. It is possible. Even suppose I given, suppose 30 and xy, and it is starting with 2020, that means it will be the 40. But very important is, if I start with alphabet, then it cannot. It cannot. If I start with alphabet, it cannot. That means it will be considered as error. That means it is considered as error. That means you can see it says not a number. That means here, what is the key point here? So note here is important. Notice parsing can be done from a parsing. That means parsing can be done from a string to number. From a string to number, if value starts with number, that means you can parse even if it is having a string, because it will ignore the string, right? But if it is starting with string, you cannot do that. That means any translation can be done into number to string, so when it is starting with a number, but it is not possible when it is starting with a string. That is not possible at all. That is very important. So parsing have these mechanisms. That is the reason sometimes you may go wrong with the answers. You need to know the consequences. So this is all what type? Numbers. Means how to verify the number, how to check whether number entered or not, how to translate a string into number. These are all the number types. And now once you know the number, the next important is a string, that we'll see in our next session, right? So we will discuss string type in the next session, and it is very big concept, because lot of validations and examples you will learn on string. So many examples we will see on string handling, how to handle the strings. That is the biggest part. Then you can try some real world examples by using those string and number. That we'll see in our next session, right? And next session, tomorrow we don't have session. Tomorrow holiday on festival Ugadi, and again our session will be on Monday. Okay, Monday we will continue with that, right? Meanwhile, I have seen only few examples of your bootstrap, right? I will verify other examples, I will check all of them, and I will let you know the result by Monday. Okay, I am verifying all of them one by one. It will take time, so many are there, right? Then Monday I will let you know about it. Okay, right?